Welcome to another Cardano update. Like always, make sure to check out our YouTube memberships and our Patreon if you want access to all of our charts and if you want access to our daily Discord updates. And people keep asking me why I think that the, altcoins will drop at the end of May of 2025. And in this video, I'm going to answer that. And for that, I need to look at the Bitcoin chart. So yes, I am going to give you a Cardano update. But first, let me look at, why I think the altcoins will top by May of 2025. And for this, I need to, put the Dogecoin on this chart. And basically, we need to compare the charts and see, when Dogecoin went up and when Bitcoin went up. And we'll see what triggered these moves to the upside. And maybe we can find some kind of pattern. Well, I already know that we will find a pattern, but, I gotta keep you in suspense. Now, why am I comparing this to Dogecoin and not Cardano? Well, because Dogecoin has enough data for the last 10 years or so, which means that Dogecoin was, pretty much a part of all of the Bitcoin bull cycles so far. And maybe we can learn something from this, and actually there is a lot to learn from this, and I'm going to show you why I believe the altcoins will get a very huge pump by the end of May of 2025, and then why I believe that they will start dropping in May or maybe like in June or so, and they will start dropping. Let's say they will drop by about August, and then we will get a fifth wave on some altcoins to finally top. So it's time to explain what's happening right now, and as you can see right now, Bitcoin is at all-time highs, but Dogecoin is not. And why is that? Well, it's because of Bitcoin dominance. This is pretty normal. So we had a pump right here when Bitcoin was going up, and yeah, Bitcoin is going pretty much sideways right now, and Dogecoin is suffering because of that. Now, let's take a look at the previous cycles and let's see if this is actually normal. Let's see if Dogecoin was, doing as bad as it's doing right now in the previous couple of cycles. So, let's start with the previous cycle. I don't want to start with the first cycle. Let's just go, in the chronological order from, the last to the first. So, as you can see right here, I mean, when Bitcoin was going to all-time highs, for example, when Bitcoin was at about, let's see, $42,000, which by the way is a 10x from this low right here. Yes, Dogecoin was up quite a lot, but it was at about 7 cents over here, and Bitcoin was at like $40,000. And look at what happened after that. Bitcoin kept going up, and Dogecoin during this time did not really do anything, and we were in the post-halving year, and I'm pretty sure during this time people were starting to give up on it. And as you can see, it was pretty much the end of March, and I mean, Bitcoin was at $60,000, and Dogecoin was still, below these highs right here, even though Bitcoin kept going up. And like I said, this is because of Bitcoin dominance. However, there's something to learn from this. When everybody was giving up right here, and when everybody was thinking that Dogecoin and the altcoin market, were dead, that's when they actually started pumping. And would you look at that? After Bitcoin actually topped over here, that's when we actually had an altcoin season. So when the altcoin season started, that confirmed that the top was in for the Bitcoin chart at least, for the first top, because, we got a second top at the end of 2021, which was normal, by the way. We always had a double top, and I'm going to explain this very, very soon. And would you look at that? During that time, Dogecoin went from about, 5 cents to about 60 cents. It went up 10x, even though during that time, Bitcoin, did not really do anything. And why is that? Well, it's because of Bitcoin dominance. Now, let's take a look at what happened before this, because, maybe this is a coincidence. But, I mean, as you can see right here, it started going up in May, or actually not in May, it started going up at the end of March, and it went up until May, and then we started going down. Now let's continue with the 2017 cycle. Let's see what happened there, and let's zoom in on this. So basically, if we look at what Dogecoin was doing, as you can see right here, when Bitcoin was up quite a lot, I mean, it was at about, $1,300, up from about $150. During this time, when Bitcoin was going up like 10x, Dogecoin was actually going sideways. And again, this is because of Bitcoin dominance. Bitcoin dominance kept going higher and higher. And would you look at this? Bitcoin was up 10x, but Dogecoin was going sideways. And look at what happened after that. At the end of March of 2017, Bitcoin started going up, but it did not really go up a lot. However, during that time, Dogecoin actually went up quite a lot. It went up about 3x. And look at what happened after that. At the beginning of April, when, Bitcoin started going up again, that's when Dogecoin actually had a huge pump. And what this pump ended by the end of May, or let's say the beginning of June of the post-halving year. exactly the same time where it ended in the 2021 cycle. Is that a coincidence? Well, I don't know. We'll see very soon. Now let's take a look at what happened after this. I mean, Bitcoin was still going up during this time, however, the altcoins were going down. And why is that? Well, because that always happens. I mean, the altcoins go down during the summer, and Bitcoin usually proceeds to go up because during that time, Bitcoin dominance usually goes up. Now, look at what happened after that. So basically, Bitcoin was at all-time highs again, and Dogecoin could not even, get above these previous highs right here. However, as you can see, after Bitcoin topped and after we got to above $18,000 or so, that's when the altcoin season actually started, and that's when Dogecoin actually had its second top. So even though this does not look like a double top on the Dogecoin and the Bitcoin chart, this is still a double top. We went up in April and we went up in May, then we went down and then we went up again by the end of the year. And actually, the cycle ended in the post-halving year in December. And what you know, in 2017, it also ended in the post-halving year, but it ended in November. So, so far things are very similar. Here, we went up, until May, then we went down, and then we had another cycle high by the end of the year. So far, it's the exact same thing. And what you know, the altcoin season only started after Bitcoin was already at all-time highs or near all-time highs. And it started when Bitcoin was ready to go down. So if the altcoin season does not start right now, it means Bitcoin will most likely continue to go higher. And that's actually very bullish because if it goes higher, the altcoin season will be even better in my opinion. Now let's continue with the 2013 cycle because we also have data for that cycle. We don't have that much data, but you can still count it. And let's take a look at what happened here. So Dogecoin was launched at the end of the post-halving year, which is 2013. What you know, during this time it was going down because Bitcoin was going down. However, as you can see, after we topped on the Bitcoin chart right here, even though, Bitcoin was not doing anything during this time, it was actually going down, that's when Dogecoin actually had a huge move to the upside, and it may not seem like it, but I believe this was actually a 20x or so, maybe even more. Actually, let's check it out. Yeah, never mind, this was a 8,000% move to the upside, and during this time, Bitcoin was not doing anything. And why is that? Well, because Bitcoin already topped, so the altcoin season only started after Bitcoin was already at all-time highs and after, it was already at a top. And also, look at what happened over here. People do not want to, realize this, but in the 2013 cycle, we also had a double top. We went up, until April this time, and then we started going down. And what do you know, after that, we had another cycle high in November of 2013, exactly the same time as the 2021 cycle. It's the exact same thing over and over again, and people don't seem to realize that. So this is why I believe that the altcoin market will get the first top by the end of May of 2025, or at least, let's say, the first week of June of 2025, and then the altcoin market will start dropping, and during that time, Bitcoin will go higher, Bitcoin dominance will start rising again, and then the altcoin season will end by, let's say, the end of November or even December or even January of next year. And then the altcoin season will end by the end of this December of this year, or maybe November, or even January of the next year. And so far in 2013, we did not really have an altcoin season. However, the Dogecoin top right here happened in the 2014 year, which means that this happened after Bitcoin topped in December. So as you can see, 1 month after Bitcoin topped, that's when Dogecoin had a really huge move to the upside. I wish we had data for what happened over here. Unfortunately, we don't. So let's take a look at 2017. Here is another example. When Bitcoin was going up, Dogecoin was not doing anything. I have already talked about this. And you know what? After Bitcoin got a local high, that's when the, Dogecoin chart actually started going up. So it's only a matter of perspective. You only have to zoom out on this and you have to realize that we're still early, and I still think that the altcoin season will happen very, very soon. However, like I said, we could get a drop before that, and even if we don't, it's not going to be the end of the world because the altcoins will most likely be at all-time highs by the end of 2025, at least based on what happened in the previous 3 cycles. And do I have any reason to doubt the data? Well, not really. It has happened every single cycle, which means that Bitcoin will most likely as well top, by the May of 2025. Now, that will only be the first top, like I said. Usually, Bitcoin has 2 tops, even though you don't want to admit it. Every single cycle has had 2 tops, and we always went down during the summer, And I think this cycle will be no different. I think we'll do the exact same thing, and people are not prepared for it for some reason. I mean, even though we are doing the exact same things we were doing in the previous cycles, people still do not, seem to realize that. So I don't know why that is happening, and I don't know why people are complaining that the altcoins are not at all-time highs. I mean, the altcoins are doing the exact same thing they have been doing for the past 10 years. They are just going sideways until Bitcoin gets to all-time highs, and then after Bitcoin gets a correction, and after, the altcoins finally start outperforming it, that's when they get these huge wicks to the upside. So people are pretty much complaining for no reason at all. And you know what? Let's also overlay the ADA chart on the Bitcoin chart, because why not? So let's see what ADA was doing in the previous cycle. As you can see right here, Bitcoin was at all-time highs. It was at $40,000, and of course ADA was going up during this time. However, it was nowhere near close to being at its previous all-time highs. And what do you know, when Bitcoin dropped over here, that's when Cardano actually started going up. So is this a coincidence? Well, I don't think it is. And what do you know, Cardano also topped in May of 2021, just like Dogecoin. So yeah, most altcoins actually top at the same time, whether you want to believe that or not. And look at this, we went down during the summer, and then we had another cycle high by the end of the year. Now this is actually very interesting because ADA actually topped before Bitcoin, and this is very unusual. This does not often, happen. I mean, the altcoins usually top after Bitcoin, so this is interesting to see. And what you can get from this is that, altcoins usually go up when Bitcoin finally tops. And right now, if Bitcoin, does not want to top, and if it does not want to get a local top at least, and if it does not want to just go down right now, the altcoin market cannot really start. And also keep in mind, Bitcoin dominance is at cycle highs right now, and at some point it will start going down, and whenever it starts going down, that's when the altcoin season will start. And I don't have to explain this. I mean, here is an example of what happens when Bitcoin dominance goes down. I mean, here, when Bitcoin dominance started going down after topping, Cardano pretty much went insane. It went from about, let's see, about 13 cents all the way up to like $1.30 in a matter of a couple of weeks. So whenever Bitcoin dominance goes down, I mean, the altcoins go crazy, and that has not happened yet, but I still think that it will happen. It happened every single cycle so far, and I see no reason why it would not happen again, considering the fact that Bitcoin is still doing the exact, couple of things that it has been doing for the past 10 years. So yeah, people don't want to realize this, but we are still early, whether you want to believe that or not, and Bitcoin is doing the exact same thing every single cycle. So we'll see if that happens or not. I mean, in my opinion, I think it will. I think we will get a top by, let's say, May of 2025 on the Bitcoin chart, then we start going down, and then we get another top by somewhere between November and January, and that's where Bitcoin tops, and then the altcoins top after that, or maybe even before that, like Cardano did in the 2021 cycle. We'll have to wait and see. All you have to know is that the altcoin season will most likely happen. You just need to be a little bit patient, and things are still looking good. Like I said, I'm still bearish in the short term. We might get another low over here, but that's not going to be the end of the world when you zoom out. So I hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure to check out our YouTube memberships and our Patreon. If you want access to all of our charts, and if you want access to our daily Discord updates, like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.